I totally forgot that it wasn't a chicken wing for a second.
Is it?
Hey! Yeah!
I don't know the chicken wing. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Improve Again. Improv again? I'm pro vegan! Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of Improve Again. Today we're going to be making one of my favorite dishes of all time, chicken wings. But not real chicken, obviously, because it's a vegan cooking show. Hey guys, we're going to be making something called seitan, which is a very old dish. They used to make it a lot in Asia, which is basically taking all of the starch out of flour and you make this dough and it's very chewy. Now a lot of people really like it for a chicken substitute because it has a very similar texture as chicken. And the cool thing about seitan is you can really adjust the flavor profile as you make it. We're making two different styles. We're making a buffalo style that's very, very hot. And then we're gonna be making a Jamaican style in both two different ways. So you can kind of see which way you wanna make your seitan. Seitan is really, really cool because you can adjust the flavor as you make it. So for our Jamaican wings, we can put in like Jamaican spices into the dough itself, so that when you eat it, it has that nice like runny bite to it, that nice like jerk bite that you like. Whereas for buffalo, you can like put cayenne, you can put your spices inside the dough itself and make it very, very spicy in addition to your sauce. So that's a really cool thing about seitan is you have a lot of control over how it tastes at the end. Now the traditional way of making seitan is to take whole wheat flour and you basically like make this dough and then you, under running water, you just like massage it under running water, and basically what you do is you're taking all of the starch out of the dough and you're creating this like gluten blob. Definitely not gluten-free. It's a very, very labor intensive, and also you can't put your spices and flavorings into the dough itself. That requires more like the sauces and everything afterwards. But we're gonna be using something called vital wheat gluten, which basically is taking all the hard work out of it and it's just all the starch is out of the flour and it's just like the glutinous part of the wheat. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and start cooking. And the first step with anything is wash your hands. I'm by myself, so I don't have anyone to play off of. Maybe I'll play off myself. What's the first step? Wash your hands, Caleb. Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna keep that up the rest of the video. Okay, I'm gonna wash my hands. Alright, so like with most doughs, the first thing we do is we're gonna combine our dry ingredients. So we got ourselves 1 cup of vital wheat gluten. That was way messier than I thought. Alright, next we're gonna have, we have 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. Every vegan loves nutritional yeast because it's the answer to anytime your family or friends are like, are you getting enough vitamins? You're like, dude, I eat nutritional yeast. So I probably get more B12 than you. So we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. We're gonna add a ½ teaspoon of poultry seasoning or chicken seasoning. This is what's gonna give it kind of that chicken taste that you associate with chicken, because if you think about it, chicken itself doesn't really have a lot of taste to it. So this is kind of, it's gonna trick you into thinking it's chicken, or your friends, because you probably don't actually eat chicken. Then we have a ½ teaspoon of onion salt. And since we're doing Jamaican style, I'm gonna add a ½ teaspoon of Jamaican seasoning. Jamaican seasoning, you can buy it at the store sometimes, or you can make your own, but it has like 13 different spices in it, so it's just a lot of different spices, and you can adjust it as you want. I made this myself because I had all the ingredients at home, and so I just made it. And I might or might not have put habanero powder in it. I can't actually remember if I put habanero powder in this, because I made it like a few weeks ago. Oh well, I don't mind. I won't tell you. So we're gonna quickly mix up our dry ingredients. And this is kind of, like I said, this is a lot of the flavor of this chicken is gonna come from us adding the spices in the chicken right here. Okay, we're gonna set that aside and we're gonna make our wet ingredients. So just like any dough, basically you take it dry, wet, mix together, you're making a ball of dough, and then we're gonna divide it up. So we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of tahini. All right, next we're gonna add a 3/4 cup of vegetable broth. Some people use water, some people use milk. Then we're gonna add 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. And we're gonna whisk that together so that it's nice and mixed. Or nice and homogenized. That's the word today, homogenized. Okay, so liquids are mixed. And now we are going to add our dry ingredients. So you gotta work a little bit quickly because you'll notice, unlike a regular dough, seitan gets very elastic very quickly. So you really gotta work with it. You don't want it too sticky, you don't want it too wet. As you're mixing it, you'll be able to tell. So we've added together, now we're gonna mix them together. You'll notice very quickly, I kind of like to fold it in just because it's gonna get very sticky very fast. You'll get to a certain point where it just doesn't mix anymore. Nice blob. We're gonna take it out, put it on here, and then we're gonna knead it together. And you'll notice as you knead it, it's going to get more and more elastic. You don't even need a whole lot, just like 10 or 15 times probably is enough. All right, so we have our seitan. This is our log of chicken. And depending on how you cook it, it's gonna really affect the texture of it. If you want more of that chewy texture, I like to boil it first. Boiling is really gonna firm it up. It's also gonna grow, and depending on what you boil it in, it's also gonna affect the flavor. So you can shape the seitan however you want. All you gotta do is remember though, that it's gonna double in size as you cook it. So you don't wanna go too big. This is just about as big as I'd recommend going. This is the size of like a little bitty chicken. Our seitan has been molded, so now we're gonna go on to the next step. All right, I got a big pot of vegetable broth boiling here, and we're just going to carefully place them into the boiling broth, and we're gonna cook them for 45 minutes, just stirring occasionally. All right, I'm gonna go put them in there, and we'll do other stuff. All right, so our seitan is happily boiling away in my slowly turning pot. So while we're waiting for that to cook, I'm gonna go ahead and make part of the Jamaican style. So I'm gonna make a Jamaican glaze that we're gonna bake onto the outside of the seitan. So it's a pretty simple process. It's easiest if you have a blender. I happen to have this Ninja blender. You can also use a food processor, anything that's gonna basically liquefy your ingredients. So this is simple. This is one of those things you're just gonna throw everything into a big thing and liquefy it. We have half of a yellow onion. I got 3 cloves of garlic, teaspoon of sea salt, 2 teaspoons of black pepper. I have 2 teaspoons of dried thyme. I have 1.5 teaspoons of allspice, 1 teaspoon of cumin, half a teaspoon of cinnamon, half a teaspoon of ground nutmeg. Then we have 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, a 1/4 cup-ish of lemon juice, basically just a whole lemon and get as much juice out of there as you can. So 2 tablespoons of oil. All right, we're going to screw in our lid, and then I'm gonna blend it. And just like that, it's liquefied. So I got my Jamaican glaze made. So I'm also gonna go ahead and put together my buffalo wing stuff. All right, so we got 2 parts going on. We have our, we're gonna make an egg wash, and then we're gonna make our bread. So I'm gonna use flaxseed meal because that's a pretty good like sticky substitute. It's pretty good as a binding substitute. So I'm gonna add, it's 1 in 3 is the ratio for a lot of it. Read the directions on your flaxseed meal. I have 3 tablespoons of water, 1 tablespoon of flaxseed milk. And then we're gonna add a half a cup of plant milk. I'm using cashew milk because that's what I brought today. So we're gonna mix that together, and then you wanna let that sit for at least 5 minutes. Okay, and then for the breading part, it's also pretty simple. We're gonna take flour. We're gonna mix it with some cayenne pepper. Now this one you can be creative with. I don't know how much cayenne pepper I put in there, doesn't matter. Just for fun today, we're gonna add a couple other ingredients, 3 other ingredients. I have some habanero powder. I've used it a lot, so if I had economy size. So we're gonna add some habanero in there. Okay, so this is a powdered ghost pepper powder. Powdered ghost pepper powder. This is powdered ghost pepper. This is really, really hot. Much hotter than habanero. I love working with ghost pepper powder because you can just a little bit goes a long way. So you can really, so if you don't want to affect the flavor or something, you can use ghost pepper powder to add heat to it without affecting the flavor. So we're gonna add a little bit in there. Now, because we're really crazy, I'm actually gonna add 1 more ingredient, and I'm really excited about this. And I'm just really excited about it. And I have some powdered Carolina Reaper. This is the world's hottest pepper, and I have it ground into a powder. I've actually never used this before. I just got it, and I'm really excited. So I'm gonna actually do. This is gonna be really great. Just a little bit goes a long way. We're not gonna go. I've never used it. I don't actually know how spicy it is and how spicy this is gonna end up being. Yeah, so that's your 4 levels of spice. You got cayenne, you got habanero, you got ghost pepper, and then you got Carolina Reaper, which is I think like 2.2 million units of the Scoville units, which is like comparatively, I think a jalapeno is like 10,000. So yeah, a little bit hotter than a jalapeno. And I have it in a powdered form. So we're just gonna mix that together and make this really spicy breading. And like with the flour, and when you cook it, it's not gonna be super crazy, but I hope it is. I don't know, I've never cooked with Reaper powder before. We'll see how it turns out. Now, because I'm lazy and I just made 1 batch of seitan instead of 2, and I don't want to kill anyone else eating it, you can also add it to the seitan. You can make your seitan really spicy by adding like that ghost pepper, that habanero, that Carolina Reaper powder into the chicken itself, and then you get some super spicy seitan. Oh man, that would be great. But I don't want to kill everyone else that's eating it, so we're gonna like hold off a little bit. Our seitan is now done cooking. It's been 45 minutes. We're gonna transfer this to a plate, and we're gonna start the next process. All right, so for this next step, I'm gonna split our batch of chicken in half. We're gonna do half of the Jamaican style, half of the buffalo style. We're gonna do Jamaican first because that takes longer to cook in the oven. Okay, so we have our Jamaican glaze. We're just gonna pour that over our chicken. We're just gonna toss it. Toss that chicken. You get it nice and covered. You can see how thick it is. So you really want to get it all nice and covered, because what's going to do is all that brown sugar and stuff, that it's gonna cook into it, and it's going to create this really nice crispy outer texture full of all those Jamaican spices and onions and garlic and all the goodies we put in here. So once you get that nice and covered, we're going to plop that down on our baking sheet. There you go, spread them out just a little bit. You want a little bit of room between them. And then you can just go ahead and just pour the rest of that sucker on there, you know? All right, our Jamaican chicken is covered. We're gonna put this in the oven at 450 for about 10 minutes, and then we're gonna flip them over and cook it for about 10 more minutes. Keeping a close eye on that glaze. It's gonna start to blacken. And that's good. You want it to blacken. That just means the sugars are caramelizing and bringing out that sweet Caribbean jerk seasoning. So here we go. Okay, so for our next step, we're gonna go back to the fryer because we're gonna be doing everything right next there into the fryer itself. All right, so for the buffalo chicken, we're going to fry it so we can get that breaded, that crispy buffalo wing breaded texture. It's a pretty simple process. We already got our oil nice and heated up around 350, 400 degrees. Get as close as you can. And then as far as the texture itself, it's pretty easy. We're gonna put it in the egg wash, we're gonna put it in the flour, and then we're gonna fry it. So here we go. Hey, all right, here's our buffalo wings out of the fryer, all nice and crispy. I'm just gonna toss them in some favorite sauce, and just in case they weren't hot enough already, I'm just gonna throw some hot sauce in there. When you eat as much hot sauce as we do in my household, you just gotta buy it by the gallon. Yeah, so we're just gonna toss these suckers in some hot sauce, and there we go. Put these on a plate.
Told not to eat the food yet.
All right, so we got two different styles of wings. We got the Jamaican jerk and we got the buffalo. This is a great example of how versatile seitan is. You can boil it, you can bake it, you can steam it, and you can deep fry it. So it's really, really great. It's a great alternative. It's easy. It's not impossible to make. Don't be intimidated by it. And you can have so much control over the flavor profile. I think I have to have flavor profile like 19 times in the video. That's what happens when I cook by myself.
That's what happens when he learns a new word. He has to use it.
You know what? I used homogenized once, and I thought I was going to use it like 19 times, but I didn't. I used flavor profile instead. So with the Jamaican, you can serve it with a nice like rum barbecue sauce, which basically I just took barbecue sauce and mixed it with rum and some Jamaican seasoning, but it's really good by itself too. So either way, I think if I stop Jody from eating for like another second, she's gonna start eating me. So let's see how it is. Gabe's getting a call.
I'm gonna turn that off.
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh my god, the whole thing.
The whole thing,
Jesus
that's cool.
Christ.
But it tastes like...
I like that one actually more.
Yeah, it tastes like a chicken wing. These are just two examples of styles.